Si on vous demande le nom d'un club auto qui rembourse votre franchise en cas d'accident, vous pensez à qui? Roule prend le relais là où votre assurance auto s'arrête. Roule, le premier club auto qui profite à tous, à condition de ne pas passer à côté.
Welcome back to Monza and the final race of the Clio Cup Series in 2025. We conclude the 60th season of Renault One Make racing here at the Temple of Speed for another 25-minute plus 1 lap race to go. Of the 13 titles that were to be decided this weekend, we still have 8 of them to wrap up. But it was David Pouget who wrapped up the Clio Cup Series overall title yesterday, in addition to his French championship that he secured last time out in Paul Ricard. And he starts from pole position for this one, ahead of Alex Lancelotti. Yesterday's Challenger class winner, Gabriele Torelli, starting from 3rd position, ahead of Nicky Taylor. The Junior class winner from yesterday, Alex Finkelstein, who finished 2nd yesterday, and Gael Castelli, who was promoted to the podium after a penalty for Gabriele Torelli. Loic Labeda goes from 7th, ahead of Dara Flock, the Irishman, Sam Gornall, and Francesco Pagano fought for the overall win yesterday, goes from 10th, ahead of Nicola Milan, and Thomas Campan completing the top 12. 7th row of the grid is Ben Colburn and Giacomo Trebbi, Damiano Puccetti and Louis Gehin, ahead of Stefan Polderman and Maro Polderman, father and son, starting alongside each other. Vladimir Lobachev, Laurent Diadis, the pseudonymed Horn, Andreas Stuckey, Nikola Tosic and Stefano Roni. On the 12th row of the grid, then comes Erik Knudsen, Axel Bengtsson, Yusuf Gaba, Pierluigi Sturla, Michel Fay and Andrea Chirichetti inside the top 30. We keep going down. Navajo in 31st, then Anthony Gerardo all the way down in 32nd place. Philip Kunze, Rolando Bordacini, Gabriele Alonso and Eric Borsani in 36th. And then rounding out the grid is Yukishwaran, Christian Navalu, Stefan Neves, Mariano Alonso and Udo Brunner. The last two did not set a time, and you'll notice quite a topsy-turvy grid, and that is because we had 3 red flags in qualifying. First of all, it was Gaël Rostand, who ended up in the gravel at the Grand Curve, and Philip Kunze doing so at the Ascara chicane as well for a 2nd red flag, and then simultaneously Stefan Neves going off at the 2nd Lesmo as Gabriele Alonso hit the barriers. And so that brought out a 3rd red flag. So quite a truncated session and a mixed up grid as a result of it. And you'll notice the message there. We are starting behind the safety car. And that is at the determination of the race director, Pierre Delette, for the Clio Cup Series, who decided yesterday was a little bit too dramatic, too much cutting of the first chicane. And so this is not only a safer, but more fairer way of getting everyone through the first corner, with 40 cars set to take the start here. 40 Clio Cup cars, plus Monza, plus final round of the season. You can understand why a little bit of skepticism was taken in that decision. But David Pouget wrapping up the championship yesterday. Also wrapping up the Mid-Europe Championship was Alex Finkelstein with his 2nd place finish overall yesterday. Also wrapping up the Mid-Europe Challengers Championship was Philip Kunze. Alex Lancelotti was crowned the Italian Challengers Champion, and Loic Labeda crowned the Spanish Challenger Champion. Now, somehow we've already got 10-second time penalties for Eric Borsani and the number 19 of Francesco Pagano. Now, I can only assume that is a carryover from qualifying, unless there was an incident on the way to the grid. I do believe that is carryover from a qualifying incident, so they're going into this already on the back foot. But it was Anthony Gerardo who yesterday took race 1 honours. It was his 4th victory of the season. And yeah, I've just had confirmation. It was for not respecting the red light at the end of pit exit for those 2 cars. So the start will be taken behind the safety car, and presumably when we get going, which is now. The clock will start ticking. Indeed it has. So 25 minutes plus 1 lap starts now. No formation lap. It'll be at the end of this first safety car lap that we get the race underway. As we said, the race director, Pierre Delet, deciding this was the safer and fairer way to get this finale underway. Titles still to be decided in the Clio Cup Series. It is only 3 points that separate Mauro Polderman and Damiano Puccetti for the junior class classification. And they are starting 6th and 8th in class respectively. In the challenger classification, Philip Kunze and Ben Colburn only separated by 1 point for that overall challenger classification. So that is definitely one to look out for. The teams championship very much up for grabs. That's a 3-way fight between Rangoni Corsa, GPA Racing and Milan Competition. In mid-Europe, we still have to decide our junior champion, and that is between Sam Gornall, Mauro Polderman and Nicky Taylor, who took victory yesterday. That is 13 points separating the 3 of them. It's a 12-point advantage for Sam Gornall going into this one. In the overall Italian championship, it's Gael Castelli and Alex Lancelotti who are fighting for the honours there. And then in the Italian junior classification, Damiano Puccetti and Ronnie Stefani. And then the gentleman class classification there, that's Stefan Polderman and Eric Borsani, although he's already been hindered by a 10-second time penalty. And then finally, the Spanish championship to be decided between Gabriele Torelli and Nicola Milan. Gabriele Torelli aiming to become the first driver to wrap up all 5 Clio Cup Series championships between the Series, the Italian, the Mid-Europe, the Spanish and French championships, which he has done over the course of the last 3 years, aiming to add a 5th Clio Cup title to his name. The course safety car leading them round. It will be coming in at the end of this lap, and it will be the champion who was crowned yesterday, David Puget, who will lead the field ahead of Alex Lancelotti. It's a GPA Racing 1-2 on the grid, and indeed Nicky Taylor, the 3rd GPA Racing car, starting in 4th position as well. So Gabriele Torelli is going to be in a bit of a Puget sandwich, but David Puget now puts his foot to the floor. And when we get across the timing line, we will be racing for the final time in the Clio Cup Series in 2025. David Puget, the champion, leads the field over the timing line, and hopefully it'll be a cleaner start when we get to the Rettifilio chicane for the first time of asking. It is Alex Lancelotti, his teammate, soaking up the slipstream with Gabriele Torelli, trying to split the 2 GPA racing cars. He pulls out to the inside on driver's right. Looks like he's already got Finkelstein. Will he have Puget on the brakes as well? Very, very close when they get into the Rettifilio, but it is Gabriele Torelli in 2nd position behind David Puget. So the outgoing champion right behind the new reigning champion at the end of the first couple of corners. Everyone making it very safely through. Very wise decision there from race control to have the start under the safety car, because we've all gotten very safely through. Gabriele Torelli now going for the lead of the race, going into the Della Roggia chicane, but Puget has got that one covered off. Still a bit of an overlap as they turn into the right-handed element of the chicane. Yellow flags are out, though, because one of the cars is in the gravel, and it is the number 22 of Dara Flock. Dara Flock, who was one of the junior contenders for victory here, but he's in the gravel at the Della Roggia chicane, so yellow flags are waving over there. Hopefully we won't need to see the safety car again. We saw it 3 times in yesterday's race, but there is Dara Flock, the Irishman, who is very firmly beached in the gravel. The front wheel spinning away there. Now Cantarelli, no, I was about to ask, can Torelli make a move on Puget before a safety car is called? No, he can't, because the safety car has already been called. So, we got two-thirds of a lap of racing in there before the safety car had to be scrambled once again. But there was no arguments really after Deraflock beached his car into the gravel. And so a shame for the 18-year-old Irishman to be ending his first season here in the Clio Cup Series like that. Coming from the British Championship, runner-up to Nicky Taylor there for the Brighton-based Westbourne Motorsport team. So the safety car will pick up the field then, and it's Pouget, Torelli, Lancelotti into third, and Alex Finkelstein, who's moved up into fourth position ahead of Nicky Taylor. And so Alex Lancelotti, who was crowned the Italian Challengers champion yesterday and was our Challenger class winner yesterday, the 34-year-old from Riccione in his home race. 4 times a race winner now is Alex Lancelotti this season. Nicky Taylor in 5th position. The 21-year-old who won the junior classification yesterday, Gael Castelli, in 6th position, who is fighting for the Italian Championship with Alex Lancelotti. So although it's an advantage Lancelotti in the order at the moment, the points advantage still with Gael Castelli, who of course was still in contention for the Clio Cup Series overall championship yesterday, but he had to win it and hope that David Pouget ran into some dramas, but that was not the case. Castelli did end up third, though, having rocketed up the order. Inherited the podium, though, after Gabriele Torelli picked up a time penalty for an incident in race 1. So it's Loic Labeda, who's second of the Challenger runners at the moment in his number 88 GM Sports prepared car, the Spanish Challenger champion of this year. And then Sam Gornall, who we know is fighting for the Mid-Europe Junior Championship with Mauro Polderman and Nicky Taylor. Safety car in this lap, so a fairly quick extraction for that car of Deraflock that was in the gravel. And so David Pouget wasting very little time and putting his foot to the floor to get this race back underway again. It's just over 16 minutes plus 1 lap to go. There is David Pouget, but Gabriele Torelli cannot do anything until they get to the timing line. But Pouget still feeling the need to defend going into the Alboreto curve. Green flags waving across the circuit, and attempt number 2 to get this final race of the weekend, of the season for Clio Cup Series in 2025. David Pouget leads, but Torelli with a big dart to the inside, and it's side by side between the 2 most recent champions. But here comes Alex Lancelotti as well, charging through, and Alex Finkelstein trying to usurp them as well. Pouget, who was leading, could end up in about 4th here, as it's Lancelotti who takes the lead, and Finkelstein follows him through. Torelli up on 2 wheels on the curbing, and Nicky Taylor has been able to get between Pouget and Torelli as well. So young Taylor up into 4th position, but it is Alex Lancelotti who now leads on the run through the Curva Grande. Great stuff there from the GPA Racing driver, not making his team boss too happy, I'm sure, with that manoeuvre. Torelli trying to take one of those places back with Finkelstein on his outside. Torelli just getting his nose chopped off there into the Della Roggia chicane, but Torelli's not finished yet, though, as he's being squeezed onto the grass on the exit of the chicane. And on the inside of the first Lesmo, Torelli showing the nerve that made him champion last year and moving back into second place through the first Lesmo. Great news for Alex Lancelotti, who's built up a couple of car lengths of an advantage, but I'm sure that will disappear very, very quickly, as it so often does in Clio Cup racing. Lancelotti leads Torelli, leads Finkelstein, Taylor and Pouget, the top 5. Great to see those Challenger and Junior class cars getting into the mix in the overall classification. And we talked about the advantage disappearing. Look, one straight was all it took for Torelli to close onto the back, such as the power of the slipstream. And we're going to see it again here down this final straight towards the last corner on the lap. Torelli in the wheel tracks. He was following Pouget a lap ago. Now he's following Alex Lancelotti to the outside, running over some debris there by the looks of it as well. Lancelotti holding his ground on the inside, and Torelli having to try and square up the corner and get the better run through the corner. He's got to keep an eye on Alex Finkelstein as well. They're starting to create a little bit of a gap to Nicky Taylor, so David Pouget will want to try and usurp the youngster as quick as possible. One of his drivers once again hugging the right-hand side of the racetrack, and Torelli is pushing Lancelotti along. A bump draft down the start and finish straight. Pulling out to the outside, as does Finkelstein. Finkelstein drawing a little bit of an overlap there with Torelli, as Torelli did with Finkelstein as well, but nothing doing into the Rettifilio chicane this time. Rear hood flapping away there on Alex Finkelstein's car. I'm sure that's just the low pressure air moving over the car. David Pouget did move up into 4th position, so he's usurped Nicky Taylor, and it's Gael Castelli, Pouget's title rival for the season, who is right behind. Again, Torelli going for the lead. Puff of smoke there as the race leader locks up his front Michelin, but holding on to the lead as they come out of the Della Roggia chicane and back into the Lesmos. There's Taylor, there's Castelli, that 127 car from Milan competition. It is the Nicola Milan outfit that's fighting for the team's championship, along with GPA, along with Rangoni Corsa as well. Because Nicola Milan also fighting for the Spanish championship with Gabriele Torelli. That would be going the Italians' way as it stands. Back towards Ascari we go, and it is Alex Lancelotti who still holds on to the lead. Lancelotti, who won the Challenger class yesterday in the race, being challenged by the driver who was denied his podium finish by a time penalty post-race. And then the car that finished second yesterday, third at the moment, with just under 12 minutes plus a lap to go. Look at those cars as they fan out across the circuit, all hunting for the slipstream. Dramas, though, for Gael Roston. He was one of the drivers who brought out the red flags in qualifying this morning, and I'm afraid he's ended up in the gravel again, this time at Ascari, so yellow flags are waving down at turn 8. And that is another of the GPA racing cars, one of the gentlemen classification cars, and we've got a safety car yet again, and just in time there for Alex Lancelotti, because he was about to have Torelli pouncing on him, and rather unfortunately they've just gone past the pit lane exit, but the safety car would have picked them up, so we're gonna have to run a lap at safety car speed for them to pick the leaders up. So we can take a breather once again. Alex Lancelotti leading the field for GPA Racing. Gabriele Torelli, the outgoing champion for Rangoni Corsa, in 2nd place. Then it's Alex Finkelstein, still in 3rd place, also for GPA Racing. David Pouget, also for GPA Racing, having a good run out there at the moment. Then it's the Milan competition car of Gael Castelli. Nicky Taylor still leads the junior classification in his mid-Europe scoring car. Loic Lebeda, second of the Challenger cars. Thomas Campan, second of the Junior cars. Nicola Milan up to 9th position from his rather lowly grid spot, and Sam Gornall completing the top 10 and the Junior classification for now. So Ben Colburn, it is third of the Challenger cars, in 11th position overall at the moment. Where is Philip Kuntzer? He's down in 6th position. And so that would give the Series Challengers title to Ben Colburn as it stands. Ben Colburn from Westbourne Motorsports, the number 55 car. Also coming from the British Championship, having spent many years racing in minis. He's third at the moment in the Junior classification, and his title rival 3 places further back. And in the Challengers classification, in the Junior classification, I should say, Damiano Puccetti and Mauro Polderman, I should say, sorry. So Mauro Polderman at the moment 5th in class, right behind Damiano Puccetti. They're line astern. And with the points advantage for Mauro Polderman, and it's only 3 points between them. So that's going to be very, very close at the moment. That should go Puccetti's way, but something tells me it's not quite going to finish like that. So now the safety car can pick up the leaders. As we see the lights starting to fade. Here we are coming up to 6 p.m. Local time. It's a 10-second time penalty for the 999 of Horn for causing a collision. Horn at the moment running 3rd in the gentleman classification. So that will hinder him somewhat. And I thought with only a couple of cars between himself and Andrea Chirichetti, who is the 4th car in that class. Good news is safety car is going to be in this lap, so should still be able to get 5 minutes or so plus a lap of racing. And Alex Lancelotti leading the field. Lancelotti, who has taken overall podiums so far this year, but not an outright win. He's going to face very stiff competition, though, from the likes of Gabriele Torelli, a 4-time Clio Cup champion. As it stands, he will be winning the Spanish Championship, becoming the first driver to win all 5 Clio Cup titles. Won the Series and French Championship last year, as David Pouget has done this year. The Mid-Europe Championship in 2023 and the Italian Championship the year before that. Torelli with 4 wins to his name so far this year. 34-year-old Italian. And Alex Finkelstein in the 23. Also yet to take a win, but a multiple podium finisher. 5 times is the Mid-Europe champion of this year. So safety car coming in shortly. Now we've seen David Pouget go very, very early on these 2 safety car restarts. What will Alex Lancelotti do? He's leaving it a little bit longer, still weaving across the road, letting the safety car go. The lights are off. So the safety car coming back into pit lane. And when is the moment that Alex Lancelotti decides to pull the pin? Gabriele Torelli will be hot on his heels as for the 3rd time we get this race back underway. Great stream of cars down the start and finish straight once again. It's 5.5 minutes plus a lap to go as the green flags are waved, and Torelli immediately pulls out to the outside and out-drags the GPA racing car when he gets down towards the first corner, but It's Lancelotti fighting back on the inside, and in fact he's lost out because Finkelstein has squeezed his way through. Incredible stuff as Pouget lunges on the inside as well, and he's side by side now with Castelli through the first chicane, side by side on the exit of the corner. The two title rivals throughout the season as Damiano Puccetti straight lined the chicane there. Remember, he's fighting for the junior classification in the Italian Championship. Down towards the Della Roggia once again, it's Pouget looking to the inside of Torelli. Looks like he's got that move done on Gael Castelli, so he's up into fourth position now, but it is now Alex Finkelstein in second position, as he was yesterday. It's a GPA Racing 1-2 as it stands, and Pouget might try and make it a podium lockout for his team. But Finkelstein really hot on the restart here as he's all over the back of the race leader. We've got yellow flags out at turn 5 once again, so that is the second chicane, and that is Michel Fay in the GM Sports number 33 car that has come to a stop. Seems like it's just a spin though, so hopefully Michel Fay can get that car going again. Look how close it is between Lancelotti and Finkelstein though, wrestling the rear end of that car through Ascari in the high-speed direction changes, and it is Lancelotti once again who gives the slipstream, this time to Finkelstein. He's hugging the right-hand side of the circuit, forcing Finkelstein to the outside. Both of these guys going for their first wins. Nothing doing into Alboreto. Gabriele Torelli right on the back of them once again in his Rangoni Corsa prepared car, the outgoing champion this year, as Lancelotti, safety car again, presumably for that Michel Fay car that is stuck at the second chicane. And again, right on cue for Alex Lancelotti, who gets a little bit more reprieve. Now, I was pessimistic yesterday about our odds of going back to green flag racing at this point in the race when we had a safety car called at a similar time. Now, hopefully, we do squeeze one more lap out of it. But 3 minutes left on the clock, and it's about a 3-minute lap at safety car speeds. So we might just squeeze one more lap out of it like we did yesterday, and then it will just be a straight sprint to the finish. But the safety car's seen a fair bit of action once again in this race. So Alex Lancelotti leads Alex Finkelstein, battle of the Alexes at GPA Racing for the lead of this race. As it stands, it's a 1-2 at the moment for the David Pouget-owned team. A team that he co-owns with his partner, Benedicte. It's the Gaia Pouget Alboy team, the three owners. That's David's partner and a family friend who own that team. And it will be safety car in this lap. So we are going to get a... Well, we might squeeze 2 laps out of it, depending on how quickly we get this race restarted, how quickly we get back down to the timing line. So both Alex Lancelotti and Alex Finkelstein going for their first victories of 2025 in the Clio Cup Series. Gabriele Torelli trying to deny them a serial winner in this championship. Multiple accolades to his name, as we mentioned. Safety car lights are off, and so Alex Lancelotti, wasting very little time, is going to have to back off eventually, you'd have thought. Well, he's not weaving across the road. The safety car is still a good distance away, but look at Alex Finkelstein right on the back of Lancelotti, practically pushing him through the Alboreto curve. Lancelotti's got to be careful he doesn't overtake the safety car too soon. Top 3 right in the thick of each other. And it will be 2 laps to go then to round out the season here in the Clio Cup Series in 2025 with an epic scrap here. Lancelotti leading them over the line. Finkelstein tucked right in behind him. The two GPA Racing teammates with Gabriele Torelli trying to spoil the party. Lancelotti holds the advantage going into the Rettifilio chicane. Somehow they're all still in that same order, with Pouget in fourth, Castelli in fifth, Nicky Taylor still the lead junior in sixth position, and then Loic Lebeda, Thomas Campan, Nico Milan still inside the top 10. Let's see what happens when they get down to the Della Roggia chicane. Once again, we are down to 0, so one more lap remaining when they go across the timing line. Very clean restart this time. Hopefully it will stay that way this time when we get into the second chicane. Bit of movement further back, but the leaders still line astern in the order. Oh, Gael Castelli, though, with a big moment on the exit of the chicane. Doesn't lose a place to Nicky Taylor just yet, but uses a lot of ground to David Pouget. That's the second place car in the Clio Cup Series Championship. You can see the marker boards have taken a fair old bit of punishment in this one. Castelli trying to hold on to that fifth place spot ahead of Nicky Taylor. The lead junior car, two cars going through the gravel. One of them is Mauro Polderman, one of our title contenders, as is the Damiano Puccetti car as well. The 43 has already had an off-track excursion in this race. Side by side between Castelli and Nicky Taylor as Torelli pounces on the inside but can't do anything into Ascari. Looks like it's going to be 4 for the lead going on to this final lap of the Clio Cup Series in 2025 with a bit of a gap back to Castelli and Taylor. Still a bit of smoke as cars lock their brakes into Ascari, but it's going to be a full clear lap of racing. Mauro Polderman trying to make a move on the number 54 of Louis Gehin. But here comes Torelli on the inside. Finkelstein tried to make a move. They made contact. Big moment there for Finkelstein. He's out of the race. He's over on his roof. Goodness me, what an end to the campaign for Alex Finkelstein, battling for his first win. It's the final lap of the race now, but are we going to get an intervention for that after that contact with Gabriele Torelli that's put Finkelstein in his roof? Torelli leads at the start of the final lap. He takes it away from Alex Lancelotti. David Pouget might have to disrupt one of his team cars here. He gets into the back of Torelli, I think. He pushes Torelli off the road. They both go off the road. So Pouget straight line in the chicane. That is not going to go down well in race control, I'm sure. We're going to see the moment again here with Torelli spying that gap on the inside. He's already cocking a wheel, and it rocks, and then sideways through the gravel is always the scary thing. And Alex Lancelotti ending up on his roof at the Alboreto curve. It's quite a slow roll in the end. Hopefully Alex Lancelotti is okay in there, but what a shame for Lancelotti as he rounds out his campaign. That was Torelli getting it out. Oh, this is just now Torelli and Pouget making contact. They're both off the road! Unbelievable drama on the final lap of the race here, going into the Della Roggia chicane. Surely that's put Lancelotti back into the lead of the race. It has, and Nicky Taylor is now up into second place. Extraordinary drama here with Gabriele Torelli on course to win the Spanish Championship. David Pouget, the series champion of 2025, making contact at the very end of the championship here. Alex Lancelotti now can take his first victory overall in the Clio Cup Series. Nicky Taylor on course for the junior victory, unless Thomas Campan could do anything about that on this final couple of corners. One already skating across the road at the Ascari chicane. That's Vladimir Lobachev. He manages to rejoin the road, though. So what's going on at the front of the field? Alex Lancelotti. Oh, a car in the wall. That's Lobachev again, with a big moment into the wall. I think he's just going to try and drag it across the line. There's going to be a lot of smoke and mirrors, though, trying to get it to the checkered flag. Alex Lancelotti drives it up towards the timing line. Checkered flag is out. Is Nicky Taylor going to beat him to the flag? No, he's not. Alex Lancelotti takes victory in the final race of Clio Cup Series 2025. Unbelievable images in this extraordinary championship fight as Nicky Taylor takes the junior class victory with second overall ahead of Thomas Campan. Unbelievable way to wrap up the championship. Extraordinary stuff And so let's try and work some stuff out, because Nicky Taylor was a contender for the Mid-Europe Junior classification. I don't think it's quite enough to beat Sam Gornall, though, who's come home in third position. I think that's given the Mid-Europe Junior classification to Sam Gornall, with Mauro Polderman behind him as well, but I'll wait for confirmation on that one. Where did Torelli and everyone else end up? Because if he's ahead of Nicola Milan, I think Nicola Milan must have had some dramas in there as well. So he finished in 6th. Pouget was 5th. Gabriele Torelli ended up all the way down in 32nd overall in the end. An extraordinary finish. And it is Gabriele Torelli who takes the Spanish championship overall. So a wacky end to the race for Torelli, but he makes Clio Cup history as the first driver to win all 5 titles in the Clio Cup Series. Extraordinary stuff. A GPA Racing 1-2 with Alex Lancelotti leading Nicky Taylor over the line. The Challenger and Junior class victories with it as well. Just 87 thousandths of a second, with Thomas Campan taking 2nd in the Junior classification, 3rd overall. Loic Labeda in 4th. David Pouget 5th in the end after that last lap contact with Gabriele Torelli. Nicola Milan in 6th. Sam Gornall, Gael Castelli, Louis Gehin and Mauro Polderman completing the top 10. Andrea Stucchi, Nicola Tosic, Stefani Roni, Damiano Puccetti and Giacomo Trebbi, with Philip Kuntzer, Laurent Diadis taking the gentleman class honours there, the champion of the 2025 series. Just getting more news as well. The Italian championship going to Gael Castelli with his 8th place finish overall there. And it is Mauro Polderman who takes the junior honours in the Clio Cup Series for 2025, with Damiano Puccetti down in 8th position. So, yep, confirmation of that one. An awful lot to be wrapped up here. As we see, look at that, Gabriele Torelli, 32nd place at the end. Philip Kuntzer is the Clio Cup Series Challengers champion of 2025 as well. Remember, we still had 8 championships to be wrapped up here. An extraordinary finish. And so, yeah, just remind you, Gabriele Torelli taking the Spanish championship, making Clio Cup history. Gael Castelli, the Italian championship winner. Mauro Polderman, your series junior champion. Philip Kuntzer, your series challenger champion. And Damiano Puccetti taking the Italian junior championship as well. But look at what that means to Thomas Campan. A extraordinary finish. I think this is going to mean even more to Alex Lancelotti, who takes overall victory in the final race of the season in a crazy, crazy finish. He leads a 1-2 finish for GPA Racing. So David Pouget may have ended the season with contact, but he also ends it with a 1-2 finish for his team. Look at what that means for Thomas Campan. Stefan Polderman taking the Italian gentleman honours. And so both the father and the son taking championships here at Monza today. There's going to be a big party in the Polderman household next weekend, I'm sure. The celebrations in Parc Fermé very firmly underway, with an extraordinary effort here from Alex Lancelotti, who takes the overall victory in the final race of the season. That was the moment 87 thousandths of a second as they came across the timing line. Well, this is how it all unfolded. David Pouget led them from pole position ahead of Alex Lancelotti, with Gabriele Torelli splitting the two GPA racing cars into the first chicane. It was a safety car restart for safety and fairness after yesterday's dramas, but it only took until the second chicane before we had dramas, with Dara Flock ending up in the gravel at turn 5. We needed a safety car for that. Then we needed a safety car for another incident. It was the Gael Rostant's car that ended up in the gravel at Ascari. When we did get underway again, we had a great battle for the lead, but contact on the penultimate lap of the race between Gabriele Torelli and Alex Finkelstein, taking Finkelstein out of the running for the victory and putting him on his roof in the gravel at the Curva Alboreto. Late dramas with Pouget into the back of Torelli at the start of the final lap of the race. You think that was contact? Wait till you see what happens here. Bang, bang into the side of each other. Bang again as Pouget spins around and Torelli has to limp the car home with damage to the front right corner. Alex Lancelotti leading Nicky Taylor and Thomas Campan it was, before we had more dramas with Vladimir Lobachev, first of all going off at Ascari and then into the wall, bringing out a lot of smoke. But it was Alex Lancelotti who won a crazy, crazy race to round out the Clio Cup Series of 2025 on the top step of the podium for the first time. So, more championship news coming in, which is that Sam Gornall has taken the Mid-Europe Junior classification honours. But that is all from an epic year of racing in the Clio Cup Series. Do be sure to join us again in 2026.
Si on vous demande le nom d'un club auto qui rembourse votre franchise en cas d'accident, vous pensez à qui? Roule prend le relais là où votre assurance auto s'arrête. Roule, le premier club auto qui profite à tous, à condition de ne pas passer à côté.